What's up, Unfiltered Waters family? Welcome back to another week and another episode. And if you're watching, you see that I am not in the studio. I'm actually sitting here in an Airbnb in St. Louis, Missouri. And we just wrapped up the U.S. Figure Skating Championships and got to see so many legends of the sport make their Olympic dreams come true. And while I was here, I happened to bump into a legendary heptathlete, someone that I have watched from afar and really admired. And so she was willing to have a conversation. So without further ado, I am proud to welcome Chari Hawkins to the podcast. She is a 2024 Paris Olympian. She is a U.S. national champion in heptathlon, and she is a force. She has so many perspectives that I hadn't even considered in terms of being a whole person and not just an athlete, in terms of how she views social media, as well as how she views balance and transition. And I almost don't want to just share anything else because the conversation speaks for itself. But I have to tell you, if you're someone that, struggles with just social media and kind of all of the noise out there, if you're someone that is considering, a different career choice or becoming a mom, she provides so many great insights. So I'll let you guys enjoy this wonderful conversation. Before I let you go, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, Chari Hawkins. All right, you guys, it's the new year, and whether you make strict resolutions or not, you know that you've been sitting there thinking about and reflecting on how you can make 2026 your best year yet. And I know I personally have been thinking about how I can help my recovery, my overall health, being that I have a little one in the oven now. And sleep is the thing that ties all of that together. So if you're thinking about your health and recovery, you're thinking about sleep. And that's where Dream Recovery comes in. They've got a suite of tools to help you achieve that. You see, I'm sporting, if you're watching, my blue light blocking glasses. They've got their mouth tape. We've talked about a bunch to help calm your nervous system down. If you're traveling a lot or you just want to control the controllables, you've got that amazing sleep mask, pillowcases, nose strips. They've got it all. So use code Unfiltered30 for 30% off your order and start your year right. Chari Hawkins, welcome to Unfiltered Waters.
Thank you. So happy to be here. What a fun time. We just met yesterday. We fell in love instantly.
We did. We did.
Yes.
There was just vibes, and that's what I love about meeting other athletes in different sports at random times.
Yeah.
Is just sometimes you're just going to connect and you get each other, and it's just like a unsaid thing.
The thing that's interesting is that we understand each other in different ways because you're actually a way better athlete than me.
That's not true.
Well, and it is true. Let's be honest. It's just so interesting because we had the opposite career.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
So for me, I did sports ever since I was little, but I didn't have an Olympic career until I was 33. Where you had an Olympic career when you were 15 years old. And so you had to grow up in the limelight. Yeah. And then I was pushing and pushing. And I was able to stay healthy through my career and then end on the Olympic journey. And you kind of had to take yours. You had to stop. You had a pulmonary embolism in your lung.
Yep. Dang, good. You're good.
That is crazy.
Yeah. I actually think, though, that's why this will be an amazing conversation, because having a conversation with someone who went through the exact same thing as me, just to be like, yeah, got it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is I feel really connected to you because it's it goes to show that somebody doesn't have to have your exact story in order to be relatable.
For sure.
Because the thing about it is I'm so drawn to you and your story and who you are as a person, because if you've never met her in real life, she's incredibly down to earth, even though she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, when I got my world record, I'm like, oh, I didn't get my world record. But she's but the thing is she's not doing that as oh, I'm trying to brag. She's being a genuine, telling her story and being super genuine, but you're a person. And I've talked to you about hierarchy, and I don't know if we'll talk about that.
I would love to get into that today.
But you're just somebody who's in your mind, you're just a person. And it's like, in my mind, you're a person too. And I'm just a person. But I do think that there's so many times that people put themselves like in a different category than other people. But like you put yourself in human category. And I really love that about you. So.
Oh, well, geez. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I have 30 things to talk about of what you just said. But I want to give people, we have a lot of swimmers and in this audience, but I just want to give people more of a background of you and why I actually think that your story is cooler than mine.
Do you have time really quickly?
Why?
Because I have to show you. Have you seen the show that I was on?
I've looked it up, but I haven't.
Have you seen the swimming episode?
Oh my God. I have not seen the swimming episode.
We should, can I show it really quickly?
Yeah, of course.
And then that way we can have context.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because it'll only take like 5 minutes.
No, let's do it.
So embarrassing. Oh my gosh. You know what? This is one thing I did say when I was there. I was like, no, I'm not embarrassed because this proves I always say to myself, I always say to people, if I can do it, you can do it. That's kind of like my whole Olympic story. So I need to show myself, failing. And I do.
I feel like something I've learned about you in 24 hours is that you are not self-deprecating, but you're like, oh, I'm not good at this, but like you are.
But I think it's endearing to not be good at something.
It is.
Like, to be honest, like I don't do it in a way to like put myself down. I do it in a way to hopefully prove to myself and other people that you don't actually have to be like a phenom to be excellent.
Yeah.
Like excellence is something that can actually be earned. It doesn't always just have to be given. And I think so many times people count themselves out because they think they don't have like the genes.
Yeah.
They're like, I just don't have it. And I'm like, me neither, bro. I get it.
Make it.
Yeah, make it. So, and the thing about it is like, it is super fun though to like see somebody like who's just like, you're so talented. You're just like so phenomenal. Those are also really fun.
Yeah.
That's
like
also really fun. Yeah.
Like watching people do quad flips and like,
oh my gosh.
How stressful was that?
I'm excited instantly. I want to find the walkers. I'm so sorry. I want to find the walkers so we can make old lady content on the ice because I do think that'd be really funny. I'll tell you the context of it because I couldn't find it because I didn't look that hard. And so basically we're on an island. They tell us that we have to go out a mile, turn around, and come back. And I get caught in a rip current like an hour in. And they don't tell me like, you haven't moved until after an hour.
Did you know? Or did you think you were making progress?
All of a sudden I'm like, why did everybody keep going? And I'm just like still right here. And think like, they said 6-foot swells, but no, think like 9-foot swells when we were out there. We're in the middle of the ocean. And I'm just not, my arms are bleeding from like here to here. And you're just like, trying to paddle.
Yeah. And you're like, are you basically skimming the board every time you pull?
Yes, exactly. And so after an hour of doing that, your arms start to like really chafe. And then after, 2 hours, your arms are just like really, really dug deep. And then after 3, you're just raw and like bleeding at that point.
With salt in the ocean.
Yeah, salt water in the wounds. And then they also told me, after 45 minutes, after 2 like hours and 15 minutes, they're like, you haven't moved in an hour. You have to go that way and to get out of this current. And then you can start going. But if you stop paddling for even one stroke, we're pulling you. Like you're
disqualified.
No, not disqualified,
okay.
but everybody's finished on the beach. They all finished that, and you're not going to finish. Does that make sense? So I was like, gosh, so I had to finish. It was brutal. And so all the swimmer fans, go watch Trainer Games and go watch me not be a good swimmer. And then you'll be like, Katie, why'd you bring her?
Oh my God. Wait, how did you get the opportunity to go on Trainer Games? That's so cool.
Yeah, so I've been like it's for this company called iFit, and it's to be the next iFit trainer. And being an iFit trainer, it's honestly been something I've been wanting to do literally forever. Like truly, I went to college. That's right in the same town that Crumble Cookies is from Logan, Utah. I went to school in Logan, Utah, and IFA is from Logan, Utah. Dynasty. And
love a crumble cookie.
Yes. And so I've just been in the world forever. And when they were a big part, especially like the treadmills, Nordic track is like a big part of my Olympic journey. And so I was just like, I want to be an iFit trainer so bad. And I've been just like, make me an iFit trainer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've been like really wanting to do that. And I saw this opportunity and I was like, maybe I'll just like go do it. And I thought it was like America's Next Top Model meets like fitness.
That's what you thought, or that's what it was?
Well, yeah, because that's what iFit is. Like think like Peloton, like motivational, let's go, like you've got this. And so I was like,
you're perfect for that.
I was like, put me in. Yeah. Like I love attention and I love fitness. Like let's do it. Oh my gosh, this is great. And so it was just amazing. But then we got there and it was just like wilderness and danger and ultra
danger
running. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to see it.
I know. I'm like, I feel like you can't like spill too much.
No, wait. Well, the first 2 episodes are out.
Okay, but
honestly, like I feel like after this, we should like do a live watching of the video so you could like react, and so I can be embarrassed. It's so fun. It's really fun. It's so much fun. I think the biggest part for me is like, you know how there's always like a villain and like a hero, but it's 10 heroes because there's only 10 of us. So they like genuinely get to tell 10 people's story, and it's really fun. So yeah, in the pursuit of getting that iFit contract, like, let's go, they made me swim. So now I'm a swimmer. Did you guys know that?
I mean, that is kind of, I knew that.
You guys know
and that's
I'm
why
like a famous swimmer now.
2028. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. Once when I was like training to swim, I remember somebody who was teaching me how to, she's like, you should become a professional swimmer. And I was like, I'd rather drown. How about that? Well, that would be way too hard for me. Like the amount of time you guys have to spend with your face in a pool.
Yeah, but you have to do 7 different events.
Fair, but that's like being a kid on a playground. Like we get to go throw this rock as far as we can, and we get to go like jump over those monkey bars. Like you guys are like, let me suffocate in the water. I do not know how. Like I think swimmers are the coolest. Like I don't know. Like, do you feel like it's like the most meditative?
I think it's no,
because
it's not. Like, I think what lap swimmers probably think, or the public thinks, is like, yo, you're like, how do you just stare at a black line for 4 hours a day?
Good,
I am thinking about I'm thinking about the turn, I'm thinking about the splits, like my mind is never calm.
So take me through, I want you to take me through your race. Like the most memorable race you've ever had in your life. And then I'll take you through the most memorable moment I've ever had. And then we can kind of decide like, what is the thought process behind it? Go.
Okay. I feel like, and I'm so curious to hear this for people who don't know, like heptathlete. Like I actually think my best event is the 400 IM. That's what I'm about to take you through, which is people always call like the decathlon of swimming. It's all 4 strokes, 100 meters of each. So in order to win, you need to be very well-rounded. You need to be kind of the best at all the strokes. So similar, in order to win.
And then you just like had the world record. It's fine.
Yeah. But I think that like I was like thinking about you last night and I was like, what are like some fun similarities? And like, it's that, right? Yeah. Like being a very well-rounded swimmer, well-rounded athlete. And so I feel like the 400 IM is like very strategic. And so in the first half, like I'm thinking about just like staying calm, breathing, like.
And what's the first half?
Butterfly.
Oh my goodness.
So you get the hardest one out of the way first, which is great. My front half, I was always like 5th. Like it wasn't my thing.
You were a closer.
Yeah. So like, and then the third lap of 2 laps is breaststroke, which is where I made my move. And then freestyle is just like everything you have left. Like you're like, I remember the first time I broke the world record, like I was just
first time I broke the world record.
Moving on.
So the thing is that I love that it's like, it is so cool. It's so interesting. Anyways, keep going. So the first time you broke the world record.
Yes. Like you're numb at that point. You're just like everything I have left. But gosh. I would say like the middle 200 meters is like where you're like thinking about negative splitting.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you're thinking about a lot of things.
So take me like slowly through it though. So like first half, you're just trying to relax. Are you thinking the word like relax? Like what's happening in your head?
I think I'm thinking like exhale, like make sure that, because I've screwed up so many times in that race where I've got like, you feel really good in the beginning of any type of race.
Sure.
And so, when it's a 4.5 minute race, you can't exert too much and get too excited and let the adrenaline get the best of you. And so I think it's just, and then there's a lot of muscle memory that comes into play, obviously from a stroke technique aspect. I'm not so thinking true. Like, here's how I do my butterfly.
You can't get technical. That's like a nightmare.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah. That's like every like flow state's nightmare is thinking about technical aspects. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I feel like a lot of it is like, I'm more thinking like a crazy person in practice. And then once the meet happens, it's a lot of muscle memory, but I'm still thinking more strategy than technical, if that makes sense. What is it for you?
Well, it's interesting because I think the difference with the hep, and tell me the name of it, 400 IM.
Individual medley.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So the difference between the hep and the 400 IM is breaks. So after the 100 hurdles, we have it has to be minimum half hour, but up to 10 hours of rest.
10 hours?
Because it depends on what they put for the TV breaks. Like we don't have a choice.
Oh my gosh.
So a lot, and that's why I've told you, like I had 2 therapists a week. I had 2 sports psychs a week. Because there's so much thinking that happens in my sport. And so I think the biggest thing is that's when it's really important to control your mind, because it's another really big thing with the flow state is if you're overthinking and doubting yourself, like it's also very impossible to get in a flow state. And so that's kind of probably the biggest challenge with like the heptathlon is the in-between parts, is making sure that you're thinking. Because honestly, a lot of heptathletes' best events are the ones that go like pretty quickly because you just have to grab your shoes, get something to eat, and go.
Muscle memory, not thinking.
And so you get into that rhythm and you don't have time to ask yourself what happens if you don't do a good job at your next event. You can just kind of go. And so I do, for people who are interested or aren't interested, I'm going to tell you anyways. But it's 2 days and it's 7 different track and field events. So it's the 100 hurdles, the high jump, the shot put, the 200, and then we wrap it up day 1. Come back the next day, long jump, javelin, and the 800. And the thing that I think is so interesting that a lot of people don't know is that in the Olympics, in the World Championships type of arena, it is that really long spread out moment. So you'll do really quickly, like the first 2 events really quickly. So it'll be a morning and an afternoon session. It'll be 10 a.m. hurdles, 11 a.m. high jump, right? Okay. But then you'll have 8 hours so that you just have to go home. And a part of you thinks, oh, like nice, you'll be able to rest. The thing that's so hard is it is actually really brutal to try to get your nervous system to relax. And you really have to like try so hard to take naps and try so hard to not be nervous, because nerves are exhausting. And have you ever been like nervous like 3 days before a race?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like that, but then you're like, I have to race later today. And you're just like, oh gosh.
Yeah, you're exhausted.
Yeah, so that's when you gotta try to meditate. You gotta try to like close your eyes and sleep if you can, or try to get something to eat, because it's so hard to eat when you're nervous. And so a lot of the muscle memory comes from like eating and napping and all of that kind of stuff, which is super interesting. Like you have to like train your body to be able to do that for big competitions. But then you'll finish at 11 p.m. and you'll get recovered, but you'll have call time the next day at 6 a.m.
Jeez, that's...
for a 15-hour day.
So like, how are you calming your mind mentally?
To be honest, I did actually a pretty decent job at World Championships in 2023, but then I got 2 hours of sleep. So it was honestly, sometimes you just have to rely on adrenaline, knowing that you don't do a heptathlon every other week. You do 3 a year, 4 a year. And so sometimes you just have to be like, this is what it is. It seems like an endurance event until you do an endurance event. And then you're like, yeah, no, it's not an endurance event.
It's an endurance event mentally though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's definitely like a mental marathon for sure.
Yeah. I think the thing that we talk about all the time, like what's relatable to just people who aren't athletes. There's people that have regular jobs and just, and like the fact that you said you waited, I don't say 20 years, but you waited a long time and you didn't give up at your dream to make the Olympics at 33.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, do you have like a quality that you think back of like, this is why I was able to withstand, this is why I was able to still believe for such a long period of time?
I think I have a mom who's like, she's so cute. She like thinks I am just the bee's knees. And I think that like anything that happened with me, she would just like remind me like how great I am all the time. And I know that it seems silly.
No.
But truly, like deep down in me, there was like that like radical belief that I could. And like my mom would always remind me that I could. And sometimes she would also be like, like, don't get your hopes up, like little moments of just human. But like for the most part, like since I was little, she was always teaching me that it was almost like you're capable. You're a capable person.
Your reinforcement.
And you can figure it out. It's not always going to be easy, but you can figure it out. And I think that overall that helped me a lot, but it is not only like the luck of the draw with your parents, because I know that there are a lot of people who were born into families that they don't have that luxury to, they have the tough love, or they have like the people who, weren't there for them or whatever it is. And I think that when I moved out of my parents' house, it's like I had to start being that for myself, because I wasn't getting that every single day anymore. And at first it actually was like really hard to not hear that I was like capable, like, oh, I don't know if you can do that. Because I realized when I left home that there was like a lot of people who didn't believe in me, like a lot, like a ton,
Like
right?
people that like outwardly told you that?
Totally. I mean, and not like so rude, like not so aggressively, like you're not, ugh. But it's just kind of like, that doesn't really seem reasonable. Like, oh, like let's make goals that are a little smarter than that, or just like realistic, trying to bring me back to earth in a kind way. Char, I think that there's bigger fish to fry in life for you than track. I mean, I had coaches multiple tell me kindly that like really had my best interest, that like I was kind of wasting my time, and they didn't want me to like waste my years doing track, because truly there are stories probably that that people, they go for it. And to me, I still think that that's an interesting story, even if I didn't make an Olympics, even if I didn't make a World Championships, but I really fought for my dream forever. I still think that's an interesting story. So to me, it still wouldn't have been a waste. But I do think that there's people who maybe would have thought that that was a waste. And so they wanted to save me from that. I don't think that they had bad intent, but at the same time, like I had to start being my own believer in me after a while. And I think that just kind of stuck, and I'm my biggest cheerleader. I talk to myself like a little kid all the time, but not in like a weird way. Like, but in like a, you got it. Like, no, that's okay. like, hey, that wasn't your best. How do you show up as your best now?
Yeah.
And just reminding myself that everything is going to be okay. And I think eventually like it puts the play back into hard things, which makes things more interesting.
Yeah. I think more fulfilling as well. I think something we were asking each other last night about like what was your superpower in your sport, and like understanding just heptathletes are usually over 6 feet. They're built different.
They're so cool. I love it. Seeing a heptathlete in person who is like made for you're just like, this is who superheroes were made after. Like, it's so cool. I mean, I told you the first thing I said to you was that I was like, oh, you could be a heptathlete.
I was like, thank you.
or Wonder Woman.
Oh my God. No. But you're saying all these things about me, then you're going to see me when we go ice skating in about an hour, and you're going to be
I've
like,
never been.
Ooh.
Here's the thing. I've never been ice skating. It's going to be the paddleboard challenge all over again.
Perfect.
I can feel it.
We'll be embarrassed together.
Well, that's why we need our old lady. Like,
we're doing that. We're doing that.
It's going to be fun.
But talk to me about just your superpower being smaller, which again, I feel like is I love when Edinburgh, I come into a situation and people underestimate me. Sure. And like, it's such a like redemption, like hell yeah moment.
Yeah.
So talk about that aspect.
Yeah. And just like, I think just like there's superpowers mentally, I think that every athlete, even if you don't think that you have a superpower, you do. It might just not be what the superpower of your favorite athlete has. And so you've just got to find out physically what is your kind of thing that you bring. And for me, I have explosive energy timing. So I know when, think about shot put. Shot put is one of my best events. I'm actually one of the best heptathlete shot putters in my field. Like I'm among the top, but I am also the smallest, right? So that's a little weird, right? But it's because I've learned when to use physics for shot put. There is a timing of being able to get at your most strong to be able to explode it have the shot put come out of your hands. It's a big heavy ball, come out of your hands at the right time. And being able to time that up is the superpower that I use for all of my events. How do I get off the ground at that perfect timing to explode great, and then it gets the highest jump, the furthest jump, the longest throw, you know what I mean? All of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I learned that about myself, honestly, probably only like 6 years ago, but every single thing that I did going into that, I started asking myself, how can I use this to my advantage? And it was actually pretty crazy how when I used my superpower, how much application when I did it with intention really, really came through. But I want to know, what was yours?
I think mine was just like straight up versatility. Like
Sure.
I definitely had strokes that were less strong than others. Like my backstroke was like definitely my weaker.
Sure.
But I was still like top 8 in the nation in that event.
Was it like, did you have a ton of mobility? Did you have a ton of like arm strength? Did you have a ton of like...
My upper body was really
You
strong.
had like really good upper body strength. Did you have like endurance? Like were you like pretty good with endurance?
Yeah, really
So it
good
was
with
just kind of
endurance.
like, you were just like in general, like when like they have the superhero bars and like strength, flexibility, like all that. Yours were all just like pretty...
pretty good.
Like a 3/4 full.
Yeah, like nothing was ever like... I mean, my freestyle was good, but nothing was ever like off the charts, just that thing, like one niche. I feel like I just was like very all around kind of jack of all trades.
Totally.
Of like, I even had like a pretty good like 50 freestyle, but I could also do the mile, So it's just, I think my superpower is just like, I didn't have like a full blown like weak point, but I just was never, the star in, I guess it helped me to be the star in the thing that
it's its own event. Same with the hep. It's its own event, and it makes it super cool. And to me, I don't know about you, but what were your thoughts on like practice? Like it's so much more fun to practice.
So much more fun.
Like multiple things than just one thing, I think.
For sure. Well, I was going to ask that because it's similar. Like you go into, a week and they'd be like, okay, like work on your off stroke. So how do you approach a week of training? Are you like, you have 7 events.
Yeah.
Where are you putting emphasis?
Basically, we practice heptathlon. So
okay,
2 days. I've practiced multiple things, multiple ways, but the way that I've found that worked for me was reminding myself, like practicing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday was a really hard run, Sunday off. I was always somebody who my injuries went all the way down when I gave myself genuine off days, completely off. Don't talk to me. Don't talk about track. I'm not doing yoga. I'm not stretching. I am rotting in bed.
Nice.
Like,
is that hard for you, or do you love it?
No, it's amazing. Okay. It's a problem.
So you're a bed rotter.
I have no problem. I will never work out a day in my life, but it's like I love it and I want it, and that's what's interesting is that when you hate working out, but then you choose to do it because you love it.
Yes.
It's like you hate it and I dread it, but I love it and I know it. I know that it's good for me. I know that I enjoy it and I know what it's brought to my life. And so I've actively make the choice every single day to do it. And to me, that's interesting because I'm jealous of the people who are like, no, I can't even take a day off. And it's like, again, that's its own issue with, staying healthy and like all of that kind of stuff. But I'm like, oh, how would that be? Like I have to actually make the decision to work out every single day.
Same.
Yeah.
And it's such
I knew I liked you.
It's such a difficult thing because you get kind of pigeonholed of like, well, you're an Olympian, like it must be easy for you. Sure. You must love it. I'm like, no, if I didn't have to work out ever again and like still like feel really good and like look how I want.
Don't tease me.
Don't tease me with the best thing ever. And like people think that's crazy. So last night when you were like, oh no, I hate it. Or like, oh no, I did a marathon. It was awful. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Yes. I just think let's normalize that because I just think people feel almost shamed to admit that. And that is, I think, what a lot of people feel.
Totally. It's like if you love the concept of general fitness and like you love the concept of general working out, and in your mind you're like, but you hate working out. So in your head you feel like crap. I just like don't know if this is for me because everybody around, like you are seen and you're probably in the majority. I really do think, and
just being honest.
Yeah, 100%. And but also like I know, and I've met and I'm around a lot of people who genuinely like every single day they cannot not work out. It's their favorite thing to do and they love it. They love doing hard things. They love pushing their body. And I also am like, wow. Yes, and that's also really amazing. Like love it. But it's
your husband like that?
Yeah. He really loves working out. He really that's this thing he craves. He'll move his day around it. And I will move my day around it because I genuinely know that it's like, oh, that was nice. You know what I mean? The thing about him though is he won't push himself to like failure, like in his, because he wants to keep it fun. He's like, I'm not here to burn myself out every day. You know, is your husband like that?
Yeah, like I feel like that's his outlet for if he's stressed, he needs to think through things. And like I kind of run the opposite way of if I'm stressed or upset, it probably would be best for me to go run or work out. Like afterwards, I'm like, wow, I feel better. And he's like, oh, wonder why that is.
Oh my gosh,
that's crazy. But I want to just like curl up in a ball and like cry and like not do that.
Yeah.
So that you're the exact same. But it would. Then when I get forced to go do it and I'm like, oh, yeah.
And that's why I love, like, I think a cheat code is like if you have a trainer or if like a coach or if you have a workout partner and you both are like committed to working out together, I think that's a cheat code because one of my best friends is the person that I work out with. I work out with her almost every day. And I just like love her so much. Every time I get to see her is a good day. And so being able to hang out with her in general is great. And we're working out. It's amazing. It's habit stacking on 10. Yeah. So for me, there's ways around it. You got to know yourself first, and then start taking steps to like making sure that you get it for sure.
Okay, I think the cat is out of the bag at this point that I am trying to get my Olympic trials cut in the 100 breaststroke at the 2028 Olympic trials. And I also don't think it's a secret that I am not getting any younger. And so with that, I have to prioritize recovery when I'm not training in the pool or doing dry land or doing strength training or running, all the things that I'm doing to get myself back to optimal shape to get that cut. And so I have to have the best sleep. I have to make sure my nervous system is calm. And that's really difficult to do without any help, to do without supplements, right? And so that's why partnering with IM8, using my Daily Ultimate Essentials every single day, then now utilizing my Daily Ultimate Longevity, I combine them. The taste is great. I get everything I need from prebiotic to probiotic to CoQ10 to superfoods to all the things that my body is craving to help it recover and get what it needs to keep getting up each and every single day to chase my goals. And that goes for every single person listening or watching this, whether you're going for a super big athletic goal or whether you're traveling for the holidays, your body is under stress and it needs to recover via a good night's sleep, via repairing its cells. The list goes on and on. So do yourself a favor and take Daily Ultimate Essentials from IM8 consistently. Again, they have those travel sachets, so you just throw them in your bag. It makes it easy. I know I'm someone who's really bad at being consistent with taking what I need, the nutrients I need for my body, if it's not super easy and grab and go situation. So use our code UNFILTERED for 10% off your order. Make sure you're giving your body what it needs so you can go and accomplish every goal you have. Did you have any lag time or struggle? Because I mean, you're fresh. Like I'm 10 years removed. You're fresh from being in Paris deciding to be done. Like, how are you with that balance right now?
So like, I haven't still, like, I'm still on USADA. So I still haven't like decided to like fully, like, where are we going? I think the biggest question I'm having right now in this moment, like the biggest thing is I'm trying to decide, do I want to have a family or do I want to go be an Olympian for a second time? And so my question that I'm asking is like, is the risk worth the reward? And as much as I'm so passionate about the Olympics, because again, I think it's so fun to see people who are just so excellent at what they do. And I think it's also really fun to see stories like mine of people who were seemingly average to everybody around them, but look, they put their head down and now they're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those stories are amazing. I'm so passionate about people telling their stories. I think sports matters so much in like the scheme of life because we apply sports to life. It's hard to talk about mental health, but it's so easy to talk about sports psychology. You know what I mean? Like when I tell people I see 2 sports psychs a week, they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. You're so strong. But when I tell them I see 2 therapists a week, they're like, oh gosh.
That is so true. It's such a double standard.
I really think that every person I think you should just go get a sports psych. Like if you're really, really struggling with finding mental health help, they're very different. So with sports psychology, you're not really going to break down childhood traumas and you're really not going to like get into the nitty gritty, but they are going to give you incredible tools that are so applicable to life every single day.
Yes.
And it's really helpful. And that's why I see 2, because I see one that does a lot more subconscious work and one that does a lot more conscious, like, here's what we do. Here's how we make our lists. Here's how we get through the boring parts of training. Here's how we blah, 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 blah. So it's like, it's really, I don't know, it's important, but it is so crazy. And I didn't know I was even going to be an Olympian because I thought I was going to be done after 2022.
Yeah.
So 2022 World Championships were in America. So my goal was to make the 2021 Olympics. I made 2019 World Championships, make the 2021 Olympics, or make 2020 Olympics. And then the next year was going to be World Championships at home, finish on home soil, and then be done. That was always my goal. And then I didn't make 2021. And I was shook. I had never worked so hard. I was so prepared. I PR'd, and so it's not like I didn't do great. It's just I didn't do enough. Like it's hard. This is the hardest team to make in the world. You know what I mean? So it's you do great and you still fall short. You know what I mean? It happens all the time. And tale as old as time when it comes to the Olympics. And I think that I was like, all right, like it was the darkest moment of my life in terms of sports for sure. And because sports is so much of your life as an athlete, it feels like it's everything, you know, when you're removed from it, you go back and you say like, wow, I'm glad that I was safe in that moment because mentally I didn't feel safe and physically I didn't feel safe because I was so mentally unsafe. Yeah. So looking back now, I'm glad that like I chose to call the hotline. Yeah. I'm glad that I chose to be here and keep going and all of those kinds of things. And so when 2022 came, I had an incredible year. I won my first gold medal at USA Championships. And then during outdoor, they had moved I went to World Championships, had a great World Championships indoor, and then they moved outdoor championships to just like a few weeks after indoor championships.
Like out of the blue?
Yes, like it was a pretty quick, crazy decision. And so to be fair, it all's fair in love and war, and I wasn't prepared. I was coming off of an indoor season, which is 5 events, having to do 2 more new events, the javelin and the 200. And honestly, my 2 events that I crumbled in is the javelin and the 200. The rest of my events went so well. I was in such a good spot, and I did one of my worst times in the 2 and one of my worst throws in the javelin. Oh. And it's just like, it is what it is. It happens again, it's the hep. You know what it's like. You can have one event that while you're swimming, it goes so well. Another leg that does horribly wrong.
And there's like no rhyme or reason.
Exactly. And it happens all the time. Mine makes sense. It's like you weren't prepared in those events. Like point blank period at the end, other people were prepared more than you were. That's the name of the game. But I didn't make outdoor worlds again. But I had such a great year. Even outdoor, I went overseas. I won so many international competitions. And I was like, you know what? Like, I can't end on just not making a team.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do 2023. And then 2023 was an incredible, incredible year. I went to World Championships. I had such a great time. And then I did so amazing at World Championships. But for some reason, the last event, I was in bronze medal contention and I just freaked out. I honestly, and I didn't freak out mentally. This was me. Watch this. I'm about to go win a medal right before. Mentally, I was on it, and physically, my body just was like, no, not today.
Not today.
And I think because that happened in my mind, I was so hungry that I was like, you know what? I'm only getting better. Like, let's see what I got.
Yeah.
And then 2024 happened. I made the team. And it just like goes to show that if I would have made the team in 2022 with that great year that I had, I wouldn't have gone to 2023. And I wouldn't have gone to 2024. And I wouldn't be an Olympian. And so I think that when it comes to next steps, when it comes to do I want to keep training, my question I always ask myself, I ask myself 3 things. Am I still having fun? Does it still make sense for my life? And am I still improving? And the answer is I'm still improving literally every single day. I get stronger every day. It's actually crazy. I feel like everybody asks me all the time, like, how do you do it? I'm like, listen, I don't know. Maybe I'm just immature and my body is developing 10 years later than it's supposed to. But I feel like I'm just coming into my own. But I'm trying to decide if it makes sense for my life. Because it is so fun. I love it. I love this sport. I love training for it. I love the community of it. But that's my biggest thing. And if I have even one no, the answer is we get to be done. And we get to be done because I have the blessing of not having to be done.
You get to choose it.
I get to choose it. And I think that that's really special. And it's not something everybody's been able to have.
Right.
And I want to know because you and I have talked about it a little bit, but when you got told that you were done swimming, like how did that process go?
Oh man. I mean, it was very drawn out because like having a pulmonary embolism, and I'm not done with that thought on what you just said.
We'll keep it.
Yeah. But I think it was like, well, you know, you should be grateful to be alive.
Oh,
you
gross.
know,
Well, yes. But
I'm saying that actually is that's coming from a doctor's perspective. And I actually felt that was like probably the worst thing you could have said to me in that situation, because it was like, yeah, but I want to thrive. I don't want to just be alive. Like, yes, I'm alive. Yes, obviously I'm grateful. But it was like this kind of, you know, I'll give speeches to doctors now. And I'm like, what if someone got up in front of you and was like, hey, you know, the profession that you've grinded in, blood, sweat, tears, got your degree, sacrificed time away from people.
Sure.
Yeah, now you can't be a doctor anymore, but you're alive, so you should be grateful. You know, like you're basically
your hands don't work anymore, so you can't. Yeah. But at least you have hands.
At least you have,
yeah.
And so it just felt like someone was kind of like they're like the chances, especially with swimming being like a very lung dominant sport.
Totally.
They were just like you can keep trying, but like you're never gonna be able to like be on the Olympics, essentially what was told to me.
And why? Can I ask?
Oh, of course. Because essentially like the scar, like I had blood clots in my lung for 7 weeks. Like it went undiagnosed for 7 weeks. And I do a ton of advocacy now because it just got missed over and over and over and over. And so the scar tissue built up like anything, right? You hurt your knee, there's going to be scar tissue. And so I went at least 2 or 3 years where I could like take a deep breath and feel this twinge in my lung area because there was scar tissue buildup. And so that made it so that I just had reduced lung capacity. And my events are, mid-distance to distance. So, and I tried for a year. I tried for a full year to just like see if I could do it. And I was the worst version of myself. I was depressed. I like my poor husband. Like I finally was like, I didn't make this comeback for my third team to be miserable every day. Like, what am I doing? Like your 3 checklists, like, I wasn't improving. I wasn't having fun. And it didn't make sense for my life. Like nothing was like checked off at all. And so, that was kind of like what ultimately led me to be like, okay, like I have to be done. Like I need to be done. I don't want to be done. I have no idea what my next step is. And that's just kind of then like floated for a while, which I think after talking to you is like really cool. It feels like regardless, you have a roadmap to some extent of whether it's having a family, whether it's going back to your sport, whether it's, you know, the incredible social platform that you've built through sweat and blood and soul, you know? And so, I think that's like when you were like, how was your transition? I'm like, hell. Yeah. But that doesn't have to be everybody's.
Sure.
You know?
And the thing about it is I think the biggest thing too is, yes, being able to go out on your own accord, you can't control that, right? That's going to like you would have never in a million years, like everything else in your body was healthy. You were probably doing all your PT, you were doing everything. It's like, you didn't know any of that. The other thing though, is like, what if we would have learned this at 15? What if we would have learned that, like, and truly learned it, not just learned it a little bit of like, oh, you never know. Because people say that all the time. Oh, well, like, you just never know. So you may as well just like, you never know when it's going to be your last day in the water. You never know.
And you're like, yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, speak for yourself, lady. You know what I mean? And so, but what if we actually gave people the thought process to write down what happens is what would happen? What would be the first thing you would do if today was your last day swimming? What was the first thing that you would do tomorrow? What would you think? And have them actually write it down. Like, and this is just like, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but like actually write it down and then ask, you know, what does swimming, and this is a question I do want to, what did swimming provide for you? When you were in your peak, not when it was like miserable.
Just like joy,
but
lightness,
like, but for what? Identity.
Yeah.
Like, who am I? What do I, probably value, validation.
Right.
I think a lot, probably fitness, all of the things and if you were to really list all of those things out and then ask if you couldn't swim another day, how would you get all of those things? And the answer would probably be like, I have freaking no idea.
No idea.
But what if you started noodling on it? And
do you think you can think like that though and still have an Olympic mindset of all in?
I did it for 3 years.
Okay.
And that's the thing is I was so like, because
good at that.
I thought 2022 would be my last year. And everybody that I had talked to was like, you're going to be so depressed. Just wait. You are going.
What a terrible setup for you.
And think like it was true. It's so true for so many.
It is true.
Even people who go out on their own accord, they're lost and they're miserable and they don't know what to do. And I was like, okay, what can I do? And for me, the biggest thing with track was track offered me a lot of validity of like, wow, I'm doing something that matters. It offered me like a lot of community. Like there were more eyes. When you're an Olympian, there's more eyes on you. And so the thing about it is I think people think of vanity and ego when they think of eyes, but when you actually zoom out, it's about connection.
It is.
And we're human beings that want people. And so when we're famous, we assume it's people. People will be there. But what we don't realize is there's so many people who get all of the people and then they're so miserable because they feel like they have no real connections, even though they have all the eyeballs. And I don't think people realize that. And for me specifically, I think I learned early that it wasn't actually about how many eyeballs, it's about how many hearts I know. And so I was very lucky with my social media because that was always my intention. I remember at first I just started like journaling. It was for my coach. He made me journal and I was like, what if I did like a video journal of like things that I learned? And there were a couple people who reached out to me and like were asking me questions and I was telling them my ideas and like we were talking back and forth and I still talk to them to this day.
Wow.
Yeah, like all the time I have people that have been with me since 2016, since 2018 and I genuinely adore them. Like genuinely. And so that was something that I was like without like let's just say tomorrow I've decided it's my last day. I don't think that I lose people even if I lose eyeballs. Even if I lose eyeballs, I don't think I lose people because I have decided that the connection, the hearts are more important than the eyeballs. And that was an active thought that I wrote down and thought about years ago.
That's a powerful
Totally.
statement to yourself.
But it's like, I would have never thought of that if I hadn't asked myself the question. If you're not willing to be curious, then how would you ever get the answer if you don't ask the question?
Right.
And the other thing that I realized is that one thing that made me very happy that I didn't realize until I wrote it down was I'm outside all the time with track. So I'm getting vitamin D and I'm getting sunshine. And so like if tomorrow, and I wrote this down, if tomorrow I'm done, I will make sure that I sit outside into the sunlight the first thing in the morning and get sunlight in my eyeballs and get sunlight on my skin. Even if it's winter, even if it's cold, like just be where the sun is, and then make sure you're supplementing with vitamin D because your body is used to being outside. It might not be as outside as much, or make it a time, go on a walk every day. Make sure you're going outside. Make sure you're seeing the sun, because it was something that track was offering me. And then another one was fitness. It made me incredibly fit. And I don't like working out, but I had an accountability person, which was my coach every day. And so I said, okay, I'd have to have an accountability person, a class, a person, like a coach, a trainer, whatever it looks like. And I would say the last one, I might have just said that was the last one. I would say the last one, I made a whole list of a bunch of things. The last one I can think of is with like physical therapy. I was getting massages once a week. I was getting PT 4 times a week. And my body was just so healthy. And making sure that I'm making maintenance of my body being like something that I can like put on a category is really important too. I'm also a chatterbox, so you can feel free to cut any of these.
No, I think that, no, because you just hit on something that the way that you describe that, because I feel like I always had the belief of, and I think a lot of people have this belief of like, well, you don't want to prepare for the end before it's the end, because that at least in my brain, means that I'm not as laser focused on the now.
Sure.
Which, in the way that you just described it, isn't like, oh, I'm preparing for this job, or I'm preparing.
Sure.
Like it's just like you said, I like noodling on it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that is why you just seem very healthy in the way that you. I'm sure you have your days, but like healthy in the way that you're framing this next step of your life. And I would say 95% of Olympians, professional athletes, don't have that.
Right. And I would also say if you're a person who is a spouse of a high-level Olympian athlete, or honestly, even if you're not in the Olympic realm specifically, but you do like marathon training, so many people do something called, they have like the marathon blues, right?
Yes.
And I would highly recommend you following steps like that when you're in the middle of your marathon training and asking yourself, what is this marathon training doing for me? It's giving me a goal. It's giving me, or whatever. It's making me run outside. It's giving me endorphins. It's making me take my nutrition seriously, or it's making me sleep more because I'm tired. Whatever it is, write it down. And then ask yourself, if the marathon was over tomorrow, how would I get the things that this is giving me? How would I get them outside of running? Like, you don't always need to sign up for your next marathon.
Right.
That's a thing that I think is so hard, is so many people like, well, when's my next race? And yes, do your next race if that's the thing that is making you so happy, like 100%. But I don't want you to have the sad parts. I want you to be able to celebrate in the good, and then be like, life can also be fulfilling in this way. Yep. If I am willing to take the things that I love about training for a marathon, training for the Olympics, whatever it is, and put them into every day, I can still find that joy just being. Like, are you okay to just be, no matter what?
Are you?
Oh yeah, that's my favorite thing to do.
Just be like, so
just
you don't feel like, because I would say number one struggle is like feeling like I need to get my next hit. Like totally. I need to go like do something big for it to then carry, like the dopamine hit and then the carry me. And I still don't think I've mastered that, if I'm being super honest with myself.
Sure. That makes sense. And the thing is, I get it. We talked about this like before we started, it is really hard to, for me, it's a hard challenge because the term you're relevant, you're not relevant, it doesn't feel good to me, because I think if you have a heartbeat and a pulse, like, well, those are the same thing.
A heartbeat and a pulse. One feels like what I feel on someone else, but one feels.
But I could have like said other things, and I chose the most synonymous.
I took it.
Anyways, sorry. If you have a heartbeat, if you have like if you have a heart, if you have a soul, if you have if you're a person, you already are relevant. And the thing is that's I think the hard part is because marketing is such a huge part of life. We can actually put a number. It's like a Black Mirror episode with social media. You can put a number of value on like how many millions of people are you worth because this is how many people are following you or whatever, right? Which that's the thing that's hard with social media is because the thing that I love about social media is the amount of people you're able to reach and the amount of and the amount of people you're able to get to know. Again, it's not necessarily about the eyeballs. It's about the souls and the hearts and the people. And like, I could sit at a meet and greet. I will sit there for 8 hours. We talked about this yesterday. After our Olympic trials moment. I stayed out for 2.5 hours and they were like, Chari, you gotta go. You gotta go. And I was like, I will literally miss my medal ceremony. I don't know what to tell you. And like, I would rather not have a picture of me on a stadium, on a podium. Mm-hmm. And I know that that's crazy because that's a memory, but I'd rather have this memory of talking to the future Chari, little girl Chari, who's asking me for my autograph, and I've decided to give her a paragraph because I believe in her. Because she's
then
here.
You can't transform her life.
100%. And well, and it's not even about that specifically. Like maybe she's going to be an Olympian, and maybe she's not, right? And either way, she's still. I hope she takes a lesson from me, and I hope the lesson is you matter, like my mom gave to me when I was young. Is like, you matter and you're capable and you're efficient. And it's like, that's our job as athletes is to like remind people that like, that they matter. And like, they don't matter because they made an Olympics. You know what I mean? Because they matter, they can make an Olympics because they're capable. But it's like, whether or not you make the Olympics, you matter.
Right.
And I think that that's a thing about being is it's a thing it's kind of just like a muscle you have to train in your head every day. Is every day you have to remind yourself that you matter, no matter what the eyeballs, because of the hearts. Yeah. The hearts that you have. Like you and I met and like you made such a big impact on me. Like you, like truly just like meeting you and like, I'm going to make you download Marco Polo. Marco Polo should sponsor me, by the way, because
what do you mean?
So it's an app. It's an app that I will make you download. We will literally talk every single day. It's going to be so fun.
Okay. Love it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. But I have so many people on that app now that I talk to like every day. It's so fun. We'll talk about it later.
I'm like, what is it?
You can get that out. You can get that out. But
unless they're going to sponsor you.
But exactly. But you made like such a big impact on me. And it's like, we would never have met without social media.
Yeah.
And so like, that's the beauty about social media is like, it allows you to be able to reach people deeper than you would ever reach people. I think the hard part about social media is it almost feels like you've got a value above your name.
Yes.
And
how do you ignore that?
You can't ignore it, but you can choose not to play by it. Because that's the thing is you can't ignore it because at the end of the day, the eyeballs will be the way that you can meet other people.
Just focusing on like what it does.
And so you can, like my goal is to, like I talked about, like with Michael Scott being like, I want to have 1,000 kids so that I can have 1,000 friends and nobody can say no to be my friend.
One of the best quotes of The Office.
And and the puppets,
they're all like, oh God.
It's so funny.
I like secondhand cringe from them. I'm like, oh my God.
I know. Oh my gosh. And the thing is do you know what's funny about everybody who talks about like the episode they can't watch and everybody already knows it's Scott's Tots?
Yeah.
I can't do it.
It's so sad.
I'm like, I like melt. And it's just, but the only thing that makes that whole episode better is when he's just like, I've made a lot of empty promises, but this is by far and away the most generous. That's the only thing that saves it. It's the only thing that saves it.
He just you can't, he genuinely in that moment believed that he was going to make good on that donation.
All the intentions.
Yeah.
I know. It's so, and like Stanley laughing also helps a lot. Like, it's much needed comic relief. But that's the thing is like, I think if you take it into the space of like, truly like when you have people who are with you on your journey and you're with them, my biggest thing is when people, when I tell my story and people, I have so many people when I tell my story are willing to tell me theirs. And I can't even tell you the amount of times I've been so inspired, and I've worked out harder because of somebody else's story that they've told me. And they would have never told me theirs if I didn't tell them mine. And so it's one of those things where it's hard to ignore as long as you're willing to not play by the rules.
Yeah.
Because I think so many people, it's really hard to get caught up in it.
It's really hard. Yeah. The likes, like when you first started that journey of, hey, I'm going to start sharing my journals and I'm going to start putting that out there. I feel like there are so many people who say like, well, I don't, there's the fear of judgment. There's, people like, did you have that? Or were you just looking at it like the lens of like, I'm going to connect with many people as possible?
Yeah. I mean, so the best advice I ever got was from CJ, my husband. He told me, I remember there was one time I had a post where I was really vulnerable and like, it just didn't do good. Like, and it's not that I got bad review. It was all wonderful, positive responses, 10 responses where I was used to like 70 responses. Right. But 10 responses of people being like, really like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing this. And it's just like the now me version would be like, I'm going to respond. I'm actually going to message each one of these people and have a conversation because that was really awesome that they were willing to share. Right. I have a different perspective now. I've been able to be in the game a lot longer to be able to find out what really matters. That's the thing about time is it really allows you to like zoom out and see. But back then I was like, oh my gosh, people are rejecting me. Right. Especially because it's a vulnerable post.
Yeah. You're putting it out there and you're like, wait. It just feels like rejection.
Actively rejected and like, this is horrible. And CJ told me the best advice. Honestly, it was the greatest advice I've ever heard. And he basically said, you are an avatar to everybody seeing you. And you have to remind yourself that because they don't know you yet. So they are only seeing a person behind a screen, like a video game character. You are just an avatar. So when they don't like you, they don't not like you. Like they only don't like that version of you, that like cut out perfect, like, or vulnerable or whatever. Like they put that person and they've chose to swipe. Maybe it was too much for them. Like it was too much on their heart. And they were like, I can't look at that. You know what I mean? And sometimes that happens but it has nothing. They're not slamming the door in your face. You know what I mean? And when you do really well and they do like you, I need you to remember that they don't like you. They like your avatar. And to be fair, it did help me be able to stay super, like, it helped me not get so grandiose because it's very, I think it'd be silly to say that it's not easy to fall into that. I just had an incredible partner with an incredible head on his shoulders to remind me that like the people that know you well will always see your shine and they'll always celebrate your shine. And the people who celebrate it from afar could just as easy throw stuff at you from afar. But just remember, like, they don't know you.
Yeah.
That's only the avatar. So just separate you and avatar Chari are different. And so now when people come into my comments to try to ruin my day, it doesn't happen often, which I'm very lucky. But like, for example, I got a message that was like, to be fair, you think you're pretty, but you're actually the fattest and ugliest person I've ever met.
But I'm laughing because like that, like.
Right. They said that to like Avatar Chari, who's perfectly like edited. like the best, like I took 50 photos and chose the best one where I looked incredible and put that one out there with like a filter. You know what I mean? So in my mind, I was like, well, no, wrong. Like, because that version of me that I just put out isn't even the only angle, is the best angle. So it's like that I can now separate. That was the biggest aha moment for me because it didn't affect me at all. There was a part of me that was like, it's kind of a bummer that this person like went out of their way to try to ruin my day. Does that make sense?
A bummer for them, like in their life.
Well, and like in my mind, I was like I hope I didn't ruin their day so bad that they wanted to ruin mine. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like, that's where I felt a little like, oh, like it's kind of a bummer that like that their goal was to ruin my day. And like that, that's kind of like a bummer in like human to human, right?
Yeah.
But like in my mind, I was like, but that I'm looking at one of the best pictures I've ever taken and being like, wrong. I have pictures that I could have posted that if you would have said that I'd be like,
correct. Yeah. We are aligned.
Yeah. And I get that. But the thing about it is like, yeah. And I think that was the best advice because it does help you separate.
Yeah.
And I think it also helps keep you where you belong, which is like human.
Yeah.
Instead of like, we're all turning into cyborgs.
Yeah.
Like
with AI and it's like very easy.
Well, and it is, yeah. It's really easy.
We're going to have to go ice skating soon, but never thought I would say that. But
soon we have to go ice skating.
Soon. Yeah. I just want to share before we wrap, like just, I know you've talked about it many times, but just your experience in Paris and what happened with the high jump. And I remember watching this and it struck me last night. You were like, people don't remember how long, they don't remember clapping for people, but they remember their story and they're getting back up. And I was just so in awe of the way that you handled the high jump and missing it and then having to go compete in another 5 events. And I just like wanted to like just share that from my heart because it to me, it's just a true testament of just your spirit.
Sure. I mean, honestly, it is so crazy, like looking back on that moment. I want to preface this by, I always say at the end of the day, the height that I came in at, I can clear it in my sleep. I haven't high jumped in actually a really long time. I could clear it right now.
Yeah.
Like that's how low the height is. Like, yeah. And so I want to, everybody always is like, why'd you come in so high? I'm like, I did not.
Oh, I didn't think that at all.
Yeah. So, but I always like to say that I was the one that missed at the end of the day. Because I'm prefacing that because when people like, it's like an excuse fest, but I do like, it is interesting, like the story that happened because it was so chaotic, but they had switched the signs of like, this pit was on this side was on this side. So, it was for the audience to say like, oh, there's 2 pits and this sign was actually for this pit and this sign was actually for this pit. And the reason they did that is so everybody over there could see how they were doing and everybody over there could see how they were doing. It makes total sense.
Okay.
I just didn't realize that. So I was watching my side's pit's board and I was coming in at 170, 1.7 meters and they were at 1.5. So I was still like forever away. So I was chilling. I was hanging out. I was like in my sweats and all of a sudden I get Chari and I look and it's like, you're up right now. And my time was ticking down. And I'm like, my shoes aren't tied. I'm like,
how much time do you have?
1 minute.
That's it?
Yeah, 1 minute to jump. And so I run and I go and I jump and I was off. I was flat. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, blah, 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 it's fine. But I was like, I don't know where I'm at in this field. I've been paying attention to the wrong thing. And I was like, I have no idea who I'm after. I don't know who went before me. I don't know what's going on. So I was running around like a mad woman because nobody had a clipboard with the order.
Which is insane at the Olympic Games, by the way.
Yeah, and I think like people, and so I finally found somebody. She was really far away from the pit, not like crazy far, but far enough that it was like she was doing both pits, right? So she was like in between both of them, watching both of them. So she's kind of far away. And I went over to her, and she was like, "I'm so sorry, it's so chaotic down here." And I was like, "Okay, no problem." And she goes, and she's like, "Okay, what's your name?" And I like told her, and she's like, "Oh, you're up right now for my second jump." And
you get
I'm
3.
Like, you get 3.
So you get 3.
So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I go back, I jump, miss. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so flabbergasted. I was like, you know what? I go over to my coach. I was like, listen, I just need to go stand behind the high jump pit and just wait. And I'll just wait, and then I'll at least get a full minute. I don't know when I am. I'm like literally so scattered, but I just need to wait. And she was like, yeah, that's a good idea. She's like, Chari, you can clear this in your sleep. I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm just a little like frazzled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, but I'm fine. And I go up there. Here's the thing. Such a freaking easy bar. Everybody had already cleared it. So my time had been ticking down while I was talking to my coach.
Oh my God.
So
how is no one telling you?
Oh, yeah, there's no announcements. There's no up, on deck, on hold. And that's usually what you get.
Right.
And I was like, oh. And I go and I look and I'm like, am I up? And they were like, yes. And I said an F word that I've only said the F word like 5 times in my whole life.
That's a valid moment.
And I said it very loudly. But I had 30 seconds. I tried to get myself together. Got myself together. I started going. The 4x1's happening the same time. And one of the girls accidentally crossed paths with me as I'm going. And I very, very subtle, but like you get that little hesitation. Right. And she's like, sorry. And like she stops and I go past her. And I was like, you can clear this from a 4-step. Just clear the bar. And I didn't get it. And I thought I would. I honestly, in my head, I was like, I'm going to clear it. I'm going to clear it. I'm going to clear it. I didn't have time to stop. If I would have stopped, I would have missed the time. And so when I cleared it, I think the crazy thing about all of it is that if I could go back, the only thing that I would do is normally when I jump, I stand way behind the pit. I don't sit over there. And it's like, I would have just been like, never change. Like, always keep your stuff and don't like do a new thing. I was trying to like be in my own space, and I sat right next to an Olympic rings, and I was trying to like take in the moment and like I was meditating all the things, and I was so ready, and it just kind of everything unraveled. And I think that's why I look so shocked. Like I look like the whole time.
Yeah.
Because I was so incredibly shocked, and it went by so quickly. It felt so scattered. It was so loud down there. And it was just, my dreams were just crazy. Like done. And I decided to go back home. We had 7 hours before that I could cry. I could cry for 7 whole hours.
Yep.
And I did. I cried. I went home because I didn't want to stay. They stay in the stadium, but I was like, I'm not trying to like cry and like bring down the vibes. Like these guys are at their Olympics. Like come on. Like I'm going to go home, get myself together. And I had to ask myself, like, that wasn't your best. You weren't at your best just then. But what's your best now? And my best is I've been training for this for 20 years, and I've been trying to be an Olympian for 20 years, and I finally did it. Like I am an Olympian, and I need to go prove it. I need to go prove to myself that I'm an Olympian, that I have the Olympic spirit, that win, lose, or draw, like I'm here. And if I was going to go back out, I wasn't going to just go be like a mopey mess, because that's not my best. Like my best is cheering for other girls. I like actually got there and I was like, they were like, I'm so glad you came back. I was like, yeah. I was like, and you know what, you guys, now my job now is to make sure you all get a PR. I was like, isn't that fun for you? And like,
I'm happy to have me.
I love the girls. They're so great and they were so wonderful. And it's just like, it's always a joy to be around them and like be in the environment. And I just was like, my family's here and like, I want them to see me having fun, fulfilling my dreams as an Olympian. And I want everybody to know that like, even when you're at the darkest part of a journey, like if you keep putting one foot in front of the other and you do it with like an attitude of like, what's my best? What do I have right now to offer? It will blow your mind what you're capable of.
Yeah.
You know, so and I did it for me too, because had I just went home with like a lot of people have done and will do in the future, like it's hard. I mean, and I don't even down them for that at all. Cause it's brutal. It was like the worst gut pain. Like I was just sick like the whole day. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I felt angry, all the things. And, but I stepped on that field and I said, you're an Olympian right now. What does that look like? What's your version of the best Olympian you could be? And I think I just needed to prove to myself, like, had I gone on and been like, I would be so embarrassed. Had I I'd just be like, that wasn't my best. And had I gone home, I would have regretted it forever. Yeah. And so I also did it for me. And like, when we're at our hardest times, like we have to be there for ourselves.
Yeah.
So
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Like I my first games, you don't know this, but yeah, I didn't make the finals. I threw up all over the pool deck. It was like literally like a nightmare experience. And I think it was a horrible experience, but it's what allows me to now watching your experience of that gut-wrenching pain. Like I was emotional because I know exactly what that feels like, but I also know what it's like to like pick yourself back up and just show yourself like, no, I'm a warrior. Like I can do this. And that is the story that's inspiring the little girls.
Totally.
Not the moments when you won, not the, and so I think that's another superpower that we have, where it's just like we know the highs and the lows and we know what to do in the lows.
I don't think that I would have the dozens and dozens of stories of people telling me they're fighting cancer, that they're fighting miscarriages, that they're fighting for their lives right now, if I would have come home with a medal. I don't think I would have had
that gives me chills.
I might have had more eyeballs. I don't know if I would have had more hearts. And that's I'm grateful for my story. I'm grateful for, especially like it kind of goes perfectly to the things. If that's what I really believe, like it, then like that people and that connection is more important than the eyeballs, then absolutely I should be more grateful that I get to tell my story, because I get to connect with so many more people.
Yeah.
Those are we talked about that. That's the most interesting things is not necessarily our glory, but like the guts part. We had to go through.
Yeah. All right. Well, final 3 questions we ask all of our guests.
Okay.
I mean, I always say this, but I could actually stay here with you for 5 hours, but like, we just can't.
We might on accident with these 3 questions. I am a chatterbox.
The first question is, what is a moment or memory outside your sport that's brought you the most amount of joy?
That's a really wonderful question. I would say, I think that my wedding is really special mostly. And I think that it isn't because it was like, it was so magical and beautiful and the food, and like, it wasn't really that. It was every single person, like my husband and I had been together a decade when we got married. Yeah. And it was every single person who had been rooting for us every step of the journey. And so, to be able to like be so surrounded with people who were like obsessed with us and just wanted to be there for us and celebrating us, and just it was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I always say like people say your wedding and your funeral are like the 2 days where like everyone comes together, but I reject that. Like it didn't happen this year, but we're doing the entire reception all over again. I think it's going to be our 15 year, it's supposed to be our 10 year, but like just do it again.
Yeah, I love
it. Like you guys should do it for your 10 year.
I love a vow renewal.
Yeah.
You could do it in like Costa Rica or something like that, and like go take everybody on vacation.
Yeah. Like make a third time where everyone's obsessed with you.
I love it. It's so fun.
All right. So second question is, a moment or memory inside your sport that's brought you the most joy.
I think that making the Olympics was pretty special. Just that whole day was really incredible, especially because I think this is what makes it so interesting for me. It's that contrast. But I had been really struggling with the 800 for a long time, for like 2 years, actually 9 years. I got a 9-year PB that day.
Dang.
I know. And I was like, my brain was just like, I don't know I actually do know what was going on. It was subconscious, but it was just like, subconsciously, I just could not wrap my head around the 8. And I was sobbing for like 2 hours because the way that the math was mathing, I didn't even need a PB. I needed to just do decent. Like honestly, and I didn't even need to do like amazingly decent. I just had to do regular. Like I always say there's green, which is really great. Yellow, which is like, we'll take it. And then red is like, yikes, right?
Yeah.
I just needed a yellow. I didn't need a green. I was sobbing because I was not convinced that I could give a green, because I felt good. I was fit, but something about my race, I had just been racing so terribly for the last few years. And I had no idea why. And so I was sobbing. I was so scared. And I finally like asked myself, I just said like, what do you need? What do you need right now? Like, how do you do it? And the first thing that came up into my head was you have to allow for your success. Because right now you're shutting it down. Like, what's it going to feel like if I don't make the team again? What's it going to feel like if I don't make the team again? And so I was like, you have to give yourself room, give yourself space to succeed. And then the second one was you're running an 800. And I realized that like in practice, we don't run an all out. In practice, you don't do your whole race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't really do that. But in practice, we run like repeat 200s, repeat 400s. So I was crumbling after 400 because that's what I was practicing. 400, then you'd stop. 400, then you'd stop. And right before each of my reps for a 400, I'd be like, all right, run the 400. Okay. And then before a race, I'd be like, okay, get out for the first 400. Okay, cool. And so in my subconscious mind, I wasn't racing an 8. I was only racing a 4. And then after a 4, my body would be like, wait, I ran the 4 like you told me. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And so I had this moment where I ran the 8 in my head and 9-year PB.
Nuts.
And it was just every single thing. And that had been like my whole day, my whole like 2 days, like just aha moments, all peaking to making an Olympics for the first time. And so it was a really special moment. It was just like so cool. And that's a part of me that's like why it's like hard for me to potentially, that's one of the things that I'm like, do you want to give, I'm like, I just figured it out.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I think you should do. I think that you should do IVF, get a bunch of beautiful embryos frozen, then you have them on lock, go be on the LA team, and then transfer the embryos and do what I did.
Well, the other thing is Colleen Quigley, Colleen Quigley, sorry, Colleen. No, Emma, she did a surrogate as well.
I know a lot of people have done that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's happening all the time.
Many options for women these days.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
All right,
Question.
Last question. What is a word that inspires you, motivates you, or just encompasses who you want to be on the daily?
I would say connection is a word for me. So I have 3 words that I live by that I change all the time. And it's connection, awe, and progression. But connection's my biggest for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So much fun.
I know, it's fun.
Yeah.
I just realized I had more caffeine to drink.
Let's go ice skate.
Yeah.